What's shaking, America? We got NFL, MLB playoffs, and a smidgen of NHL talk coming up right here on Sportscene. Hello and thanks for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon. I'll be your host for the day, Nick Ragner. But before I get too far into talking about myself, let's meet the panelists. First off, we have Will, who stole the cookie from the cookie jar he did, Angevine. Then coming up second, we have Stephanie, I liked Matt Castle, but now I don't, Haugh. And then we have Nicole, would rather have Miracle Whip than OJ Mayo Noe. Now that we've met our panelists, let's talk about how this show is going to work. Pretty much, I ask the questions, the panelists answer the questions, and then I award points based on how much I like their questions or if I found them amusing. Now, let's get to the first word of the day. The Packers played the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday, the reigning Super Bowl champions, and pretty much the Packers offense hasn't been playing up to par or up to how they normally play, with only 2 offensive TDs in the past 2 weeks. So, guys, I got to ask you, is this a concern for the Packers?
Well, yeah, I'd got to say, Nick, it was the battle of the 2 highest paid quarterbacks on Sunday. It was Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers, and really didn't toss that many touchdowns in the game. I know there were injuries, but the half score was 6-0 Packers, so not really a high-flying game through the air. It was all defense.
I agree with you. All defense. Defense was huge, even with Clay Matthews and their huge defensive player out. They nailed it this time.
I think they did really well. I mean, the Packers are getting a lot better right now at trying to split up their run game and their passing game. This is the 3rd time in a row we've had a 100-yard rusher, and it's been 3 different rushers each time. The past season, we had no one that rushed for 100 yards at all in the past 2 seasons. But the play call is being more 50-50, which has been helping a lot. Take some of the pressure off of Rodgers. But, I mean, not only was the defense huge, but Mason Crosby has been virtually on target all season. I mean, 2 weeks ago he had 16 points, 5 field goals, and an extra point. And then this week he had another 4 field goals. Yes, he did miss one, but he came right back out right after and then had another extra point with that one.
Yeah, I got to say, Eddie Lacy really stepped up and helped the Packers running game. You guys didn't have that, but it's a tight division with the Lions 4-2, Bears 4-2, Packers 3-2, and the Vikes 1-4 might come back, so we'll see.
I don't know, the Packers defense, they're getting really strong. They had sacked Flacco 5 times. You know, defense had 6 tackles behind the line of scrimmage and 5 other tackles for no gain.
We'll see in 2 weeks when they play the Vikes. We'll see.
All right.
Nicole, I really liked your point. Actually, it was a very good point. 100-yard rushers the past 3 games is very important. The Packers haven't had that in a very long time. It adds a lot to their offense. And I also really do believe in Mason Crosby. Field goals are obviously very important later in the season when you play those close-knit games. Well, moving on to the next topic, a more important game and a more impressive victory. Brady and company decided to actually, pull through this past weekend, actually throwing a touchdown for this game to Kembrell Tompkins with 5 seconds left to defeat the New Orleans Saints, the undefeated at the time New Orleans Saints. And I got to ask you guys, if it wasn't for that Brady-Tompkins connection, we could be having a totally different story today. Are you guys buying into the Patriots to being a legitimate threat in the NFL?
Actually, yeah, Nick, I am. Even if you don't like Tom Brady, you gotta admit that last-minute play, phenomenal. I mean, going no huddles, deep passes. Tom Brady is probably the one quarterback I would want doing that.
Honestly, for me, for Tom Brady, I'm honestly just waiting for the year that this guy completely sucks. I mean, he completed a 70-yard drive with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the game and no timeouts. Made a 17-yard pass to Kembrell Tompkins, 5 seconds left. I mean, all the receivers that Brady has are new. He lost his top 5 receivers from last year. But, with the late game heroics, it made you wonder, was it really Brady on the field or was there a little Tebow magic going on there?
I got to give it to Mr. Gillette himself, Mr. Tom Brady. I mean, he did march the team down the field, ran the 2-minute drill, actually the 1-minute drill. But you also got to take your hat off to the defense and the coaching. Hakeem Talib might be the best cornerback in the league right now, just just D'ing up Jimmy Graham, one of the best tight ends in the league. He can guard anyone. It's going to be interesting seeing next week because he got a hip injury, so who knows. But right now Tom Brady and the Patriots are hot, so I'm gonna say they're gonna keep on winning.
I'm also curious to see when Ron Gronkowski comes back to see how that interaction will work with Tom Brady.
I'm waiting for the Patriots-Broncos game. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, Danny Amendola was a huge topic this season. Obviously, he hasn't been playing as well, but they're still winning games. Bringing back Rob Gronkowski could change this offense quite a bit. Their defense is kind of holding them together, as that's kind of how it was the early years in their dynasty. Moving from one Boston team to the next, the Red Sox pulling off yet another miracle 2 nights ago as David Ortiz knocked out a grand slam and helped erase a 5-0 deficit against the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers looking really, really hot up to that point. Guys, I got to ask you, with Game 4 just happening actually as we speak right now, are you guys buying the Red Sox as legitimate contenders in the LCS?
I am definitely buying the Red Sox as big contenders. I mean, right after, a night after Max Scherzer threw a not Max Scherzer. The Red Sox had only one hit in the previous game. I mean, Max Scherzer comes into this one, has a no-no going through 5 2/3 innings. They get a run, so it's 5-1 going into the 8th, and they end up loading the bases. The Tigers went through 4 different pitchers in the 1 inning. I mean, you bring one guy out, he gives up a hit, they switch him out, and they just kept going over and over and over. And I think another huge part to that was the fact that the third base coach ended up holding one of Shane Victorino on Pedroia's single, and that left the bases loaded for Big Papi. They bring in the new pitcher to pitch to Papi. First pitch, it's gone. I mean, Torrey Hunter gave a valiant effort, and then top it off with Saltalamacchia's single in the bottom of the 9th.
Will?
Yeah, Nicole, I gotta agree. Big Papi always clutched through the years, but not much more clutch than that game when he hit a grand slam right over Torrey Hunter, who did a somersault over the back wall. But it seems like the Red Sox got all the momentum right now and should carry it through to next round.
Steph, you okay?
We're good. We're good. I'm just choking up about the Red Sox here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know what to say about the Red Sox. When I first started, I'm not a big Red Sox fan, I'll admit it, but I don't know. They have a legitimate chance to actually make the series, maybe possibly win the series. I guess it's just a waiting game to find out.
I think they're a solid team. They got the whole fear the beard mentality going on, and it just might work for them.
Yeah, beards really do help out, help teams in the baseball playoffs. I can really agree with that. The Detroit Tigers coming in with just a massive offense. Obviously, their pitching is unparalleled to none, but the Red Sox always seem to figure out how to get it done.
Pitching duel.
I don't know. Moving on to the NL. Okay, I have to actually make sure I pronounce his name right. Haugh Jin Ryu, who was the pitchers for the Dodgers last night. Yes, there is more than just Greinke and Kershaw. Was able to shut down the Cards in last night's Game 3 of the NLCS, going 7 innings, allowing only 3 hits, and obviously no runs en route to a 3-0 victory. So, guys, with the series sticking in LA for Games 4 and 5, are you guys buying the Dodgers in this series?
I am buying the Dodgers in this series. They crushed the Braves in the series before, but it looks like the Cardinals are giving them a bit more challenge with the pitching, but just the hitting for the Dodgers is amazing, and the fielding. So I got to give it to the Dodgers, moving on to the next round as well.
Oh, this one's tough for me, but I actually feel like the Dodgers will win Game 4, as much as I hate to admit it, but Cards lost David Freese. He's still questionable for return tonight even. He's a big playmaker along with Carlos Beltran. I mean, he's been phenomenal. He helped them in, Game 1, Game 2, something like that. He helped them out big time. But I feel like the Cards aren't a great on-the-road team. They're more of a stick-at-home, we-got-it type of team. So I'm totally going with the Dodgers, as much as I'd hate to.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, the Dodgers did not kill the Braves. The Braves actually put up a very good fight for that series. They did lose in, 4 games? But, hey, they put up a good fight. The Braves are my team. Be nice to them. But, the Cardinals did win the first 2 games. They won the first game 3-2, the second game 1-0, and the Dodgers obviously won Game 3. But the first game, both teams scored 2 runs in the third inning, and then it took until the bottom of the 13th inning to get another run across. That was 9 scoreless innings. You look Game 2, the Cardinals got 1 run on 2 hits, and that's all it took. LA had 5 hits and no runs. I mean, it's all about pitching, it's all about timing, and I think it's going to come down to it, but I think the Cardinals are going to pull it out.
Well, as we always know, when the MLB playoffs come around, it's always a real fun time of the year. You never really know which team is going to win. It's very unparalleled to any other professional sports playoff that we see in today's age. Well, our next topic, something that I'm very unfamiliar with. I can't lie to anybody sitting up there on the panel. I'm not an expert on it. The NHL. And guys, I have no way to intro this because I don't watch hockey, so take it away. Impress me. Get some points.
All right, well, I think the really big thing so far is the New York Rangers. They were a playoff team last year. They were ranked 6th, ended up beating the number 3 ranked Washington Capitals in the playoffs. They did lose in the second round to the eventual runners-up, the Boston Bruins, but they have only gotten 1 win so far this season. They've already started to shake up the roster. They're putting their backup goalie and a winger on waivers as of today. Their worst losses came 9-2 against the San Jose Sharks and 6-0 to the Ducks. I mean, it makes you wonder what has happened to Henrik Lundqvist. He was one of the top goaltenders in the league. Last year, he had a 2.05 goals against average. This year, so far, it's 4.21. I mean, that's not very good. And he's already given up 16 goals in just 5 games this year when he only gave up 88 goals in 43 games last year. And that was a shortened season. So I think they're definitely a huge disappointment right now, and Lundqvist has got to get it figured out or they're not going to go anywhere.
Very impressive ramble you just went on. Will, you got anything to say to that?
Hot right now in the NHL are the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Detroit Red Wings, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, Sid the Kid's going to get it done, as he always does. And then Colorado is crazy hot right now. 0 losses there. San Jose Sharks with the 19-year-old kid getting buckets of goals. And St. Louis Blue Jays doing well too. But my personal favorite, the MN Wild. Danny Heatley back from an injury. They got Pominville for a full year. And they've got Mikko Koivu, too, who's just killing it, too. So that full roster with a great fan support should do well this year.
Steph, you got anything to say to that?
The only thing I have to add, I'm with you, Nick. I don't watch hockey, not a big hockey person, but thanks to my lovely other panelists here, Colorado apparently was awful last season, and now they're doing phenomenal this season, so good for them.
Hey, that's more than I actually happen to know on the topic. You guys anything else to add about that?
Going off of what Steph said, the Colorado Avalanche, they were 2nd worst in the league last year, only winning 16 of their 48 games. They have yet to lose this year. Semyon Varlamov, the goaltender, in all of his 4 starts, has only given up 1 goal in each of them. Their backup Tendy played 1 game, had a complete shutout. Patrick Roy, their new coach, has been incredible. He's lighting a spark under them. I mean, even in the first game, he had a fight with Bruce Boudreau and got fined $10,000 for knocking over the glass after the game.
Well, before I have to bust out the hockey dictionary, let's go over our points really quick. Will, you're sitting at 20. Nicole, you're sitting at 20. And Stephanie, you're sitting at 25 because you make me feel better about myself that I don't watch hockey. We'll be right back with some more NFL fun right after we look at some of those perfect pets.
Meet Kaya. She's a 1-year-old lab mix. She is very social and is one silly girl. And here's Addie, a curious, gentle 2-year-old domestic short-haired cat that always wants to know what's going on. Meet Toby, a 3-year-old coonhound mix. He's very handsome, energetic, and can't wait to meet you.
To find out more about adoption for these pets or others, contact the Cooley Region Humane Society at 781-4014.
Welcome back to Sportscene. Again, the number for the Cooley Region Humane Society is 781-4014. Let's take a look right now at the points breakdown for those of you that need visuals to realize exactly what the score is. Oh, look at that. That was kind of cool and interesting. Well, we might as well move into our next topic. NFL fun. Who doesn't love talking about the NFL? Do you guys love talking about the NFL?
I sure hope.
Awesome. Great. Well, then I guess we're in for a fun and jam-packed show. So, first thing I want to talk to you about, huge injury in Green Bay. Randall Cobb went down with a knee injury. It turns out he has a broken fibula, and he'll be out anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. He'll make it back for the playoffs, but he'll be out for a majority of the season. Guys, what are your thoughts, and how big of an impact is this to the Packers offense?
Well, Randall Cobb is the most dependable playmaker on the Packers offense. He can become a nightmare when it comes up to matchups, so that's something to watch out. Also, going off Randall Cobb here, it's kind of the same story back in 2010 when the Packers lost to Michael Finley. So yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL.
That's debatable.
Stats don't lie.
That hurts.
Stats lie
That
sometimes.
kind of hurts coming out of my mouth. But
Nicole?
yeah.
Give a rebuttal to that?
Well, I do agree that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league, but I do think that Randall Cobb is a huge loss. I mean, he's both a threat for us as a back and as a receiver. It's going to force Jarrett Boykin to step up. I mean, you look at the game he had, he could not catch the passes on the run. It was only when he was standing and Rodgers threw it to him. It was always points after the catch, or the yards after the catch. But, I mean, we did sign another wide receiver to the practice squad, so we'll see how that helps us out.
Yeah, a lot of big-name receivers around the league. Roddy White, Julio Jones, Percy Harvin before the season, all out. But if any team can rebound from losing receivers, it's the Packers. They lost Greg Jennings this offseason, but they've got a great core of guys who could just step in and play. So I think they'll be fine.
Now, do you guys think that the injury to James Jones is going to impact their offense with Randall Cobb too? With both of those guys out, do you think they can hold up or what?
I mean, they held up just fine in the game so far. I mean, obviously we got the win when both of them went out in the first half. So I think as long as Jones isn't out for a significant amount of time, we'll be fine and we can handle it.
Yeah, okay.
It's debatable, but the remaining wide receivers for the Packers, they're really going to have to step it up, and I think having Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to help that.
Yeah, I really don't think they have the salary cap to add another receiver at this point in the season, so I think they just got to go with what they got and see what happens. A lot of NFC North matchups coming up in the next couple of weeks, so they're make or break for the division. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge story right now. I mean, James Jones out too. He might miss this week. We don't really know if he's going to miss this week. I'll tell you guys one thing, though. I actually was kind of happy about it. I was playing Randall Cobb in fantasy football, and when he went down, he only had like 5 points. I ended up winning by like 2, so it really helped me out in the long run. We might as well move on to our next topic then. Sticking with the NFL, obviously, having some fun in the NFL. What is going on in the Vikings quarterback situation? First they have Ponder, then they start Matt Castle. He looked okay his first start, second start, not so much. They just signed Josh Freeman to a $3 million deal. Is Josh Freeman the answer for this team, and can they turn it around with Josh Freeman at the head of the helm?
Well, just taking this one, I really do think Josh Freeman is a great pickup for the Vikes. 11 games, $3 million. Some people think that's a lot, but I think it's a great pickup. Freeman's assets are the Vikings' weaknesses. He can throw the ball downfield, something that Castle and Ponder obviously did not have. So coming up against the tougher defenses, I think Freeman will be a great fit, and hopefully that'll avoid having 8 men in the box, which stops AP. So that tandem will help a lot, I think.
Well, Stephanie, I know you feel you're very, this is very important to you. I mean, you're a Minnesota Vikings fan.
I am.
I want to hear it right from your mouth. What are your thoughts on Josh Freeman?
Let's just say I'm not a Ponders fan, a Christian Ponder fan. So Castle.
Are you a Matt Castle fan?
I was until I watched him play on Sunday, and then
Okay.
my mind kind of changed. I actually think having Freeman in with Vikings is going to be a great help. As long as we can get rid of Ponder, I think either way, having Matt Castle or Freeman, we're going to be in a better situation than we were with Christian Ponder. I know Matt Castle threw those 2 interceptions, but what quarterback doesn't throw interceptions?
Mm-hmm.
And with Freeman, it's going to take a while to get used to working him into the team, getting used to AP, and it's going to take a while. But I think, or I should say, I hope we get rid of Ponder now. Ponder is not the answer to our team.
Nicole, quick rebuttal.
I definitely do think that there's a change coming in Minnesota. I mean, you signed Josh Freeman as your somewhat third-string quarterback, but, I mean, he did play in all 16 games last season. He threw for over 1,000 yards and more than Christian Ponder, 9 more touchdowns than Ponder had, and he's got a better quarterback rating than Ponder. I mean, you look at the stats, it's kind of hard to not go with him, and, I mean, Ponder hasn't really done much so far, so what can it hurt?
One problem with the Minnesota Vikings that they seem to have year after year is that what they really like to do is find those stopgaps. I mean, they thought that it was over with Christian Ponder. Obviously not. Maybe picking up a guy like Josh Freeman who can stay there for a couple of years, really grow with the offense. I mean, Adrian Peterson isn't getting any younger, so hopefully he can make a difference for that team. I mean, I'm not really necessarily a Minnesota Vikings fan, but boy, do I feel bad for their quarterback situation. Moving on to a team that doesn't have a quarterback situation, the Denver Broncos. Man, they are playing like some dude is playing Madden 25 and just rocking it. I mean, they are on pace to break a ton of records, plus Von Miller and Champ Bailey are coming back to really just anchor this defense, and just be this team is going to be unbelievable. And I got to ask you guys, are they going to lose one time this season? Stephanie, let's start with you.
Actually, the one game I'm looking forward to in the Denver schedule, the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs, they're undefeated right now. Who would have ever thought the Chiefs would be undefeated? I sure didn't. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be a close game, and I feel like that'll come down to a last-second play. So that might be the one game that the Chiefs lose, or the Broncos lose, sorry. But otherwise, I feel like they're pretty strong, and they won't lose until then.
Nicole?
I feel like they have a real tough test coming up. November 17th, 24th, and December 4th. They play the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Chiefs. Two really strong teams, 3 weeks in a row. It's going to be difficult. But I mean, Manning so far has 22 touchdown passes through 6 games. That's a new NFL record. I mean, that's pretty incredible. The only close game they've been in was against Dallas, and that was a 51-48 shootout. I mean, 2 teams scoring 99 points.
Yep.
Yeah, with the additions of Vaughn Miller and Champ Bailey, I really think that defense locking up, they can avoid any weaknesses. And just with all their receivers now adding Wes Welker, with Demaryius Thomas, they've got so many weapons. So I don't know if they'll be as potent as the Patriots' perfect season, but I really think they'll be hard to beat this year. So I think they're the elite.
Do you guys think their lack of run game is something to worry about as the season goes on? You think they can really, I mean, in this day and age, it's very possible to rely on a pass game to get you places, but they really don't have a running back. I mean, who is their starter?
No Sean Marino.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, thank you, Will. I mean, you get points now. That was very impressive that you did that close into the. But I got to ask, though, do you really think that, I mean, they could slow them down at all, especially, and once you get later into the year playing in Denver, teams coming to Denver on the road, Colorado, cold?
I mean, their offense this year is just causing defenses fits. I mean, Peyton Manning had a rushing touchdown this year where nobody even saw where the ball was going. They're just playing around with defenses with all the weapons they have, so I really don't think it's going to be an issue.
Okay, well, moving to one team that seems to have no problems to a team that has more problems than I can count on my fingers and toes. The Jacksonville Jaguars have looked terrible from the beginning. I mean, most people thought they were going to be terrible, but maybe MJD could just do something. Justin Blackmon just coming back. He's actually playing like a number 1 receiver right now. Guys, I got to know, is Jacksonville on their way to an 0-16 season? Nicole, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, they did put up a fairly good fight for them, at least, against Denver. But I think really the bigger question is, will the Giants ever win a game this year? I mean, it's such a huge disappointment for the Giants, especially with such an elite quarterback in Eli Manning. But, I mean, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will eventually get a win. I mean, it might take a while, but they'll eventually get there.
Will?
Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars, more talented team than their record shows. Yes, they do have a lot of holes, but they do have Maurice Jones-Drew, Justin Blackmon, Cecil Shorts, so something could happen. I mean, they're playing some weak teams further on in the year, so it could happen. It might not be the same as the Dolphins when they went 15-1 or the Lions when they went 0-16, but I think it can happen down the line.
Stephanie?
Gotta say, there's always a chance that a team could win or a team could lose. So, yes, I feel that there is
Good
a
point.
chance, but is it going to come anytime soon? I don't know. If anything, I feel like the 1 or 2 teams they could beat would be the Cleveland Browns or the Tennessee Titans. Those are kind of the weaker teams, I feel like, that's in their schedule, but I don't see a win coming that soon from Jacksonville.
Now, Nicole, you mentioned Tebow time earlier in the show. I got to ask you, what are your thoughts about Tebow possibly coming to Jacksonville? I mean, he'll sell some jerseys.
It definitely will. I mean, I'm personally not much of a Tebow fan, but I think Jacksonville is going to get desperate and they're going to, whatever it takes. And Tebow said he's not willing to do anything besides quarterback. So, I mean, hey, if you're losing, why not bring him in? I mean, it's worth a shot. What have you got to lose at this point?
Will?
I mean, maybe they bring in someone like Christian Ponder. I don't know, something like
Send him
Jones.
there. Send him there.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert and Chad Henne not working for them, so they got to figure out something. Maybe wait in the draft next year.
Stephanie, you got a quick input really quick before break?
Not really. If we could get rid of Christian Ponder, send him to Jacksonville for all I care. I mean, they need the help, and if he's their help, God help him.
Well, you got a Minnesota fan wishing Chris Ponder go to Jacksonville. That's pretty harsh. That's pretty harsh from you. Well, coming up, we'll come back with your point breakdown, but first we're going to look at a UWL promo. You're watching Sportscene.
LFACT. University of Wisconsin Lacrosse is ranked the #2 college in the Midwest.
UW La Crosse is ranked number 34 for out-of-state students among public universities nationwide. UW La Crosse is ranked as one of the most military-friendly schools in the nation.
UW La Crosse is number 24 among medium colleges and universities for Peace Corps volunteers.
Back to Sportscene. We're going to take a look really quick at the points breakdown as we head to break. Looking like a three-way tie, so things are getting very interesting. Will at 30, Nicole at 30, and Stephanie at 30. So this last question is going to choose who the winner of Sportscene is today. Our last topic of the day is NFL Houston, the fan reaction in Houston when Matt Schaub went down. Matt Schaub went down with an ankle injury sometime in the third quarter. He left the game with a 94.8 quarterback rating. TJ Yates came in, threw a pick six. But when Matt Schaub was walking off the field, the fans were cheering, and not because he got up, but because he was injured and he had to come out of the game. Guys, is this appropriate for fans in NFL stadiums? I mean, they pay for their tickets. Will, we'll start with you.
Not at all. I mean, you don't cheer when someone gets hurt. That's just the one non-negotiable. I can understand when a quarterback gets benched or throws an interception or something, but just cheering when someone gets injured, that's just, no, terrible sportsmanship. You're never raised to do anything like that. So if I was in that Houston crowd, I would not have been cheering with the rest of them, even however much pain he caused. That's still terrible. So,
Stephanie?
Don't agree.
I totally agree with you. Even if it's the opposing team, a player you absolutely hate, they go down injured, you should not cheer that they're injured. I mean, yeah, here I am sitting saying get rid of Ponder to a different team, but that's different than somebody saying going down injured and then, oh my, yay, he's hurt, he's out of the game. Totally not right. It doesn't, no, not right at all.
Nicole?
I completely agree. I mean, I don't think you should ever cheer for a player when they go down or, like if they're walking up the field, say, I mean, I can understand if they're walking up the field, say, yeah, you did a great job, we're proud of you and stuff, but that's not what they were doing. I mean, were they excited when he went down? Yeah. Do I understand why they were doing it? Yeah. But should they have done it? No. I mean, fans have been waiting for Schaub to sit out a game. They've been wanting to get TJ Yates in there to have a shot, and I think he deserves a shot. I mean, they've only been averaging 17.7 points a game, which is 26th in the league. Obviously, something's not working. You need to try and change it up, and I think now TJ Yates will have a shot to try.
This is a question open for all of you, and it's very open, but here's the thing I find different than talking about a different injury. Like, I mean, if he were to break his neck and was carted out, it'd be a little different than them cheering. But the fact that he actually walked off on his own power and didn't seem to be a very serious injury didn't really seem like it was that big of a problem to me. I mean, the guy still got up and walked off. It was almost like a substitution. What do you guys think about that?
Well, actually, I'm still sticking with my guns. Regardless of the story, whether he was quote-unquote faking an injury or anything, you still don't cheer for him, hurt or not. It's like Nicole said, it's different if he was just benched, you wanted to see the other player come in, but never cheer for an injured player, ever.
Well, I'm going to cut everybody else off because your opinions don't matter. The points breakdown today are showing that, Will, you stayed at 30. You didn't go up at all. Stephanie, you stayed at 30. You didn't go up at all. And Nicole, you stayed at 30 as well. So we had a three-way tie. I'm saying I won at 35 points because I'm just that cool. But because I'm such a nice guy, I'm going to let each of you rant for a quick 20 seconds. Let's hear what you have to say. Will?
Short NFL receivers in the NFL today. Gotta love them. Bradley Cooper, Danny Woodhead, and Cole Beasley, all guys my height, 5'8", 5'9", getting the job done. Shows you don't have to be a monster to be a receiver in the NFL. I think that's really cool. Inspires me to get out there and throw the pigskin.
That's very nice of you. Stephanie?
My rant is about Adrian Peterson. Deepest condolences to his family. Got to give him props for playing. I know it was a tough game, but he'll work through it. Football is something he loves, so go AP.
Nice, terrible. Very nice. Nicole?
All right, I got Thomas Hurdle, a.k.a. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Hurdle from San Jose. I think he's one of the huge reasons that San Jose is still unbeaten this season. He's only had one game he's played in so far where he hasn't scored a goal. He had his first career hat trick and an extra goal against the Rangers. Had this amazing behind the back and between the legs play. I think he's going to be the future of San Jose.
Well, that was a very fun show. Good job, contestants. You did a great job. You're watching Sportscene. I'm Nick Ragner, and thanks for tuning in to WMCM's Sportscene this week. Y'all have a fantastic day.